Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Chromate's Apothecary, and today I'm bringing you a tarot pick card reading where we're going to be looking into whether or not they've been checking up on you recently. So this is going to be a little bit of tea today in this reading. What I'd like you to do is a little bit different than normal. I'd really like you to keep one person in mind as you're looking upon the decks that I have laid out before you. Really tap into their energy before you make your decision today. And afterwards, if you've gone through that reading and you had another person that you were interested in looking into, feel free to come back to this intro and then check on them next. So to get started, we have the Pastel Journey Tarot deck along with this black tourmaline, and this is going to be representing group number 1. Then we have the OK Tarot along with this Aura Quartz, and this is representing group number 2. Then we have the Kauai Tarot along with this Zebra Jasper representing group number 3. And lastly, we have the Pink Pain Tarot deck along with this Raw Crystal Quartz representing group number 4. So if you need a little bit of time, feel free to pause the video, meditate, and really think upon this person before you make your decision. But when you've done so, feel free to head on down to the description box below and then click on the timestamp that corresponds with the reading that you chose. And remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick a card readings in the future, as well as to join the Crow Coven. And I will see you guys in your reading. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading all about whether or not they've been checking up on you recently. So you chose the Pastel Journey Tarot along with this black tourmaline. And with this black tourmaline, this is really here to help let you know that you are feeling very protected during this time, or if you don't feel protected, that you are being protected during this time, specifically dealing with negative energies and psychic attacks. So if you perhaps had maybe a negative relationship with this person, this is really here to let you know that there's this sense of purifying when it comes to them looking at you. If they are looking at you, just because they're checking up on you, even if they're thinking negative things, you're not feeling that. You're being protected from that situation. So to start off, I wanted to flip over to the backside of the deck and get this energy here real quick. The first one we are seeing here is the Six of Wands in the reverse position. And this is talking about this sort of like fall from grace kind of moment. There was a big ego that in dealing with this person, I feel like this is mostly their energy. It almost feels like they did something that really hurt their reputation. So it's very possible that they betrayed you in some way when it came to you guys' relationship. And it's indicative of someone who, yes, again, has that hurt ego kind of thing. So maybe that's kind of a drive as to why they are checking up on you, is because they kind of want to see like if you're either bad mouthing them or if like you're also feeling bad, because they're there. So it's like their insecurity is kind of coming out in that way. So let's get started in your reading, group number 1. So let's tap into group 1's person. I'm really interested to find out. Ooh, this one wanted to come out, so I'm going to set it aside. Can we get some further messages, please, and thank you. So the first one that had jumped out was the Queen of Cups in the reverse position, and then we've got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse position, the Ace of Wands in the reverse position, and this one also wanted to come out, the Page of Wands upright. Interesting. So to start off with this reading, I am seeing almost this more like feminine sort of energy. So I don't know if this is someone who was either female or just had feminine tendencies, or perhaps instead of having more masculine qualities, they had feminine qualities. So keep that in mind, just simply because we are seeing this queen as well as this page or princess here. So we're not seeing strong masculine right now. With this Queen of Cups reversed, this is someone who was definitely emotionally insecure. So it's someone who is very fragile when it comes to that sense of security with their partner, and that could have been part of the reason why you guys broke up. We're also seeing this sense of codependency, and not something like interdependency where you guys are actually partners and you're working together. Codependency where they strictly cannot do anything without you. They're almost smothering you with the level of they need your attention at all times. It feels very just needy. It feels very like just kind of like constantly wanting to know what you're doing, where you're at, who you're with, that kind of feeling. And again, when we saw the card in the bottom of the deck, it gave off this feeling almost like they were doing that to you because they were doing something wrong. And so they were kind of like pushing that insecurity onto the relationship, and they like didn't want you to find out about what they were doing, but they were fully invested in making sure you didn't do the same thing to them. So that's really the vibe that I'm getting from this person. So hopefully that kind of hits home with you guys as well. We're also seeing, we are seeing here a water sign with it being cups, but we also had a lot of strong wands energy as well. So the possibility of fire is also there. Let's continue. So the Eight of Pentacles reversed, we're seeing this person who could be almost like a perfectionist as well. Somebody who needs to make sure that everything is strictly done the way that they want it to be done, kind of thing. If it's not done in that way, then it ends up really backfiring and causing them to maybe lash out emotionally as well. We're also seeing this sort of person who has a hard time with focusing. So this could be somebody who they either, like my brain is literally blanking right now, they either can't focus on the task at hand, and you have to remind them over and over and over again to do the thing that needs to be done. So it's almost like you're like babying them because you have to. Or they are somebody who didn't really have strong ambition and goals for the future. So they just kind of were floating in life at the time. Next, we're seeing in the Ace of Wands reversed, again, another like this person really didn't have a lot of motivation to do much of anything, and they kept putting things off. So I'm definitely getting strong. This is like their energy kind of thing, very strongly. This is kind of the person who they were. So hopefully this sounds, this resonates with you about them. Also with the Ace of Wands, this could be like, because this is normally about like, when it's upright, it's about like beginnings and being inspired and like potential for growth and stuff. It has this really stuck and like almost weighed down kind of energy. So again, it kind of gives me that smothering feeling, almost like they kept you in a bubble. They kept you separate from things, and you weren't able to go out and explore the things that you really wanted to because they were always kind of, again, checking up on you, or they just didn't want you kind of out of their sight, sort of thing. I am seeing, however, here in the Page of Wands, when I pulled this card, I did kind of feel stronger your energy with it, simply because it this feels so opposite. It almost feels like this was happening to you, this weighed down, this stuck, delayed nature. And then when you guys broke up, this Page of Wands like moment happened to you, or this is how you naturally feel that you are yourself. And in this explains throughout it this sense of like enthusiasm and having a really free spirit, feeling like you want to discover like the world around you. If that doesn't sound like you, if you're not somebody who likes that sort of travel, likes that sort of exploration and stuff, it could be linked with this person in the sense of, with it being a page is almost like a newness, like a new idea or a beginning of something. So combining that with this meaning like exploration and discovery, it is likely that they have checked up on you because of this. I'm getting this feeling of like they kind of want to find out a little bit more, and so they kind of want to peek at your stuff. I don't know if they have yet, so we're gonna pull more cards to see whether or not they have, but it is also kind of giving off that vibe, that again, that like kind of almost as if they had like a sense of curiosity. So let's go ahead and go further. I really want, so if this was about them, now I want the hard facts. Now I want, are they checking up on you? Let's pull this one. 9 of Knives. It's the 9 of Swords. Oof. Page of Knives. It's a Page of Swords. One more, please. And then the Knight of Bottles or Cups in the reverse position. I'm gonna say yes. At the very least, it's weighing really heavily on their mind. Swords deal with mental, and so it has come to their mind. If they haven't already, I feel like it's possible. I did not notice this, sorry. I feel like it's possible that they're going to. Again, kind of like how I mentioned in the Page of Wands. In the 9 of Swords, this is really about, it's about dealing with some really intense anxiety, dealing with perhaps depression, nightmares, dealing with feeling the sense of despair. So it's likely that they have had dreams about you, and in turn that makes it so that they are thinking about you. And then when they come to the waking world, they're like, okay, well, now I need to look. Now I need to know. I'm really kind of getting that, yeah, this is definitely happening. When we see here in this Page of Swords, we're seeing how, again, this card talks about being curious. So kind of like how I mentioned here, where it almost feels like they're a little bit interested, a little bit curious about stuff. The Page of Swords talks about having this curiosity and being really mentally restless. So again, not being able to get you off of their mind. So they definitely, I'm changing that maybe to a yes, definitely, considering I didn't even think about that until I was reading this card. But yeah, considering the fact that we're seeing all these signs of this mental toil that it's taking on them, I do think it is eating away at them a bit, and they are unable to really resist wanting to check up on you. So again, it might be new, it might have just started recently, and maybe that's why. Maybe you've checked up on this video because you kind of got that feeling like maybe they were doing that. And yeah, it almost feels like this is a new thing. So either you guys just freshly broke up, or perhaps it's only been a short amount of time, and so now it's kind of like it's still pretty raw. There's still a lot of emotions there. We're seeing in this Knight of Cups in the reverse position, this like person who is very, very unrealistic in their expectations. So I don't know if maybe it's a sense of like, if they think that you know that they're checking up on you, maybe you'll somehow reach out to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a little delulu. Like, they're like, ooh, like, maybe I'll be able to win them back or whatever. But, like, I'm getting this feeling like when they do check up on you, they are very moody, and they are also very jealous about how your life looks right now. So it could be that maybe you are online only posting the nice things that are happening to you, or perhaps you've moved on from them and moved on to someone else, and they're still definitely like getting that hurt at, like there's still feelings there enough that they're jealous of how you look and how you feel right now in your life. Ooh, creepy. I'm sorry, group number 1. That is a lot right now. Yeah, I'm definitely getting, yeah, if they haven't done it yet, they think about it a lot, but I'm really leaning more toward that they actually are doing this during this time. I'm interested in finding out potentially their zodiac sign, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this. This could be your sun, moon, or rising, or it could be theirs, but let's just see. The first one we have coming out is Gemini, and talk about like that sort of like mental pull. Gemini have a hard time with that. They overthink everything. Ooh. Scorpio. Oh. Sorry. Scorpio is like, they can be very, very determined people, but overall, Scorpios, it's almost stereotypical that Scorpios won't let go of a grudge kind of thing, and they can be vindictive people. Again, I don't want to bash you if you're a Scorpio, but if this person is a Scorpio, then it could be a little bit more like they're feeling far more possessive and intense. Again, that water sign that we were talking about. And again, another water sign, we've got Cancer coming out as well. That's where you're getting that moodiness, that intense emotions as well. Again, I don't want to bash you if you're a Cancer, but we all have positives and negatives within us. Let's continue forward. I'm also going to pull a few of these, and I also want to look into advice for you too. So let's pull a couple of these cards. Can we get some advice for group number 1? Any further messages? This first one says, I bloom with energy. So trying, I think, to go about this without feeding into that negative energy. Don't try to keep it in mind too much. Don't try to, for one, don't give them any energy either. I'm getting that feeling like they kind of feed off of it and they kind of enjoy getting that energy from you. So make sure you don't give them anything during this time. And as for you, you really centering your energy within yourself, try not to give out any, like, I'm trying to think, just unnecessary energy towards something or somebody that isn't in your life anymore can really wear on you. So try to, if you're seeing this, try to take this almost as like confirmation that yes, this is happening. I understand. I get these messages, and try your best to keep them out of your life as best as possible. So if that means like blocking this person, I would say do that, because you thinking about it is just feeding into that loop. And if you guys are psychically linked at all, there is that sense that they can kind of pull it and feel it from you. Next we have Root, which shows strength and grounded. So this could be a time, again, you need to get really grounded into your energy and conserve it for yourself specifically. But also this could be really indicative of perhaps you guys had a really sexual like energy and vibe, because root deals with the reproductive organs and whatnot. So you guys could have been really heavily attached in that way, and maybe it was really intense in your relationship. So keep that in mind as well. And then I'd like to look into some advice. So can I please get any last messages, advice or otherwise, for group number 1? I hope you guys have had an amazing week, and hopefully you hearing this doesn't freak you out, for 1. For 2, hopefully you're not having to deal with them at least reaching out to you. Ooh, the star in the reverse position. Okay. I get this feeling, considering I'm seeing the star right now, you guys could be like really stressed out about this. Could we get some advice though, please? 3 of Pentacles reversed. Okay. So in the star, it's really about having this almost like despair and feeling really discouraged. So you could feel almost like taking this as like confirmation that yes, this is happening, and now you're like, oh great, of course, like I knew this would happen, kind of thing. Or it's just confirming almost like your thoughts on it. And try not to take it as a like hard-hitting blow. Just know that this is a thing that's happening, and try your best to push through it. The star in the upright position is very much about like hope and renewal and this sense of serenity and everything. So hearing this could make you feel a little discombobulated, which yes, I totally understand. I have my own ex that would never want to feel as if they were checking up on me or anything like that as well. So I understand that anxiety and that fear of not wanting them anymore in your life, especially if you guys did not part in a like friendly sort of a way. But just know that this is just a point in time and a person that, as long as you're no longer feeding energy to them, they can't do anything to hurt you or get back in your life. So just kind of be sure in your knowledge there that you're protected during this time. You're not going to get any communication from them. You're not going to receive like any weird messages or anything. Just try to keep that in mind so you can calm yourself a little bit more and definitely stress less. I'm also feeling, because we're seeing it on the 9 of Swords here, it could be that maybe you've been recently having nightmares as well. You've been having dreams where they've been in it, and that has made it come to the forefront of your mind again. And maybe you thought you were like done with this, and you're like, yeah, I don't think about them anymore. But then suddenly there was this resurgence kind of moment. So yeah, I don't know, just try your best to, again, take this as it is and try to release it after this video so you aren't clinging onto it anymore. And again, do what you need to do to protect yourself. If you need to make a new account on everything and not give it to, like, hopefully they would not find that, or blocking them on your social media, be sure to do that. Also, in the 3 of Pentacles reversed here, this is about a lack of teamwork. So I'm wondering about this. This is very curious. I was trying to ask for advice. So I'm thinking the opposite of that would be to obviously have teamwork, obviously working in with some sort of collaboration. And I'm taking this almost as, this is a really weird message, but it almost feels like this person is kind of like in your friend group, or there are people that you talk to who still talk to them. And so it feels weird because the people involved know what's going on, and yet they still choose to hang out with this person. And let me tell you, from experience, those people, they don't deserve you, and they are not worth keeping. So if that is happening to you, you definitely need to get them out of your life. I'm seeing it as they're not really worth your time, and they're also not trying to protect you, because they might say things like, oh, well, we never talk about you, or even if like they do ask about you, it's not like I say much, or things like that. Or they might try to be somebody who's like, oh, I'm just like not gonna pick sides or whatever. When you don't pick sides, you're supporting somebody who's hurt someone. So just keep that in mind. If they were somebody who did something that truly hurt you, you need to know your worth, and you need to know that you will be better off without those people. I know that's like a tangent. I'm sorry, this keeps flying everywhere. I know this is like quite a tangent to be going on, but speaking from experience, I've been in that position where I was deeply hurt by someone, and people around me were manipulated into lies, and it ended up being a whole ordeal, and I had to cut them out of my life, and I have been so much better since then. So just keep that in mind, that if that applies to you, then that might be something that you have to do at this time. And I'm going to do one last card, one last message, please, for group 1. And this oracle card here, this card is Passione, and it says honor your heart. So in here is really truly honor yourself during this time. Again, knowing your worth, knowing what drives you and where your focus is at, and all the things that you want to achieve, and cutting out the rest of the noise. So again, possibly cutting out the noise of people around you if they're trying to do or say things. Again, I'm really thinking that this person is possibly checking up on you, even to the point where they might be asking your friends. I put that in quotes if you weren't watching. They could be talking to your people that are closer to you. So even if they're not online checking up on you, they could be asking questions from those around you. And so you need to make sure that you protect yourself in this situation. And if you feel passionately about this, you need to speak up on it, because they can't be, without your consent, giving information about you to someone who possibly has hurt you in the past. Lastly, I'm going to pull a few tiles. So I'm actually going to pull 4 tiles. We'll see if any of them match with either your first, middle, or last name or theirs. So let's pull these 4. The first one we have is F. Then the next one we have is P. Then we have coming out, oh, it's trying to fall. The next, oops, sorry, it did fall. The next one we have coming out is E, and then this last one is S. So again, this could be in either of you guys' first, middle, or last name. And I'm going to recap for you real fast. Group number 1, we had the Queen of Cups reversed with this feeling of this person who is possibly emotionally insecure and very, very codependent with you, or they were that way with you. In the 8 of Pentacles, it gave off this feeling of them either being quite the perfectionist that needed things to go exactly their way, or they really lacked, which you can actually be both things at once. They could have also possibly lacked this sense of focus or ambition. They could definitely be both of those things at once. The Ace of Wands reverse, where there's a lot of delays, feeling weighed down, and you overall just feeling really smothered and stuck by this person. And then in the Princess of Wands here, the Page of Wands, I was either seeing this as you, where you now feel so much more like you don't have any more burden. You're feeling very free. You have this like feeling of enthusiasm about your life right now. Or I was seeing it a little bit as, because this card is also about exploration and discovery, it could be that they're trying to explore avenues of finding out information about you. Then we had the Nine of Swords, which meant they're likely dealing with a lot of nightmares, a lot of dreams, and some anxiety, and that could be really plaguing them at this time. And because it is a sword, it's about that mental, a lot of like mental thoughts and blocks and everything. So it could be that, again, you're on their mind a lot. Right next to that, we had the Page of Swords as well, which really means about, again, being mentally restless and also very curious. So I'm thinking with those, it really gave me that feeling of like, yes, they are checking up on you, or they're about to. But for most of you, as I was going along in the reading, I really felt like, yes, they were. Then we had the Knight of Cups in the reverse position, which is showing someone who's really moody and someone who is very jealous when they do check up on you. Then I tried to ask for advice for you, group number one, and I was seeing here that we had the Star in the reverse position. So I was worried about this possibly affecting you strongly. So just make sure you hold on to hope and take this as a time for renewal, a time for your own inner serenity, and don't give those emotions or energy to this person anymore. And then lastly, seeing here in the Three of Pentacles in the reverse position, because this is about a lack of teamwork, I'm seeing this as there's potentially people in your life who are around you who are feeding into this energy, and they're still talking to this person, and they are possibly supplying them with information. So just be very careful, protect yourself during this time, know that you're protected during this time, and do what you need to do in order to honor your heart. You want to take care of yourself first in order to heal. So thank you so much if you got to the end of your reading, group number one. I am wishing a lot of blessings on you, and I hope that the situation is able to be smoothed over very, very quickly for you. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Tarot Pick a Card readings in the future, and to join the Crow Coven, especially if this resonated with you. And if it did, I'm very interested. Let me know the tea. Like if it's safe for you to do so, let me know if any of this resonated, because it was very interesting how pointed it was. It felt very straightforward for me. But again, keep yourself protected. Don't comment if you are nervous to do so. Anyway, I will see you guys in our next video. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. So today we're going to be getting into whether or not this person that you are thinking on currently is looking into you. They're checking up on you. Maybe they're looking into your social media, or perhaps they are asking people about you, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, you chose the OK Tarot along with this Aura Quartz. And in this crystal here, I really wanted to let you know that we are going to get very clear messages. We're going to get a definitive answer for you today, because this really helps amplify whatever energy you put into it. We want like crystal clear results. So I'm going to set this aside. I also want to let you know that this can help really heal you as well when it comes to either your physical or your spiritual body. So if you had a lot of emotions regarding this person and you still feel very emotionally or spiritually damaged due to this person, then this Aura Quartz is here to really help you along that journey. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the back of the deck energy of this person, kind of see what messages we can get. We have the 10 of Cups in the reverse position, and this card really talks about a misalignment of you guys' values. Perhaps you guys were always on the wrong page with one another, or it always seemed like you had to make more sacrifices than they did during this time. It's also very possible that this could be a message for some of you who perhaps this was a divorce, or maybe you guys were engaged and had you gone through with the marriage, you would have had to have divorced because of this misalignment of you guys' values. This card very much means like broken home or marriage. So it could be that even if it wasn't a marriage or engagement situation, it could have just been that you guys were living together. So this was a very serious, deep, you guys were invested and you thought that you guys were going to be forever. That's the vibe that I'm getting for most of you. Obviously, as this is a general reading, take what resonates, because for some of you that may not be applicable. So let's go ahead and get into your reading. I really want to tap into group 2's person. I would like to get kind of their energy so we can kind of get the feeling of who they are and what might be driving them toward this, or even just a clear answer, whether they are checking up on you or not. 2 cards came out at the same time, so I'm going to take both of them and kind of read them together. So we are seeing the 10 of Wands right next to the Knight of Wands in the reverse position. Let's keep going. Ooh, another 2 that came out along with one another. So we will take those and read those together as well. So we've got the 5 of Pentacles, and then lastly we have the 7 of Cups in the reverse position. So very interesting. The first thing I'm getting is this is a bit more of a masculine energy. I'm not certain if they identify as male or just they had a few like or more masculine qualities versus feminine. But because we are seeing this Knight here, we are seeing this sort of masculine energy. To start out with, this 10 of Wands is very interesting and very telling. This talks about having this really heavy burden and having a lot of stress. There was a lot of hard work that needed to be put into this relationship, and it made it really just an overall pain, basically, for you guys to have to deal with during this time. The 10 of Wands does bring about a little bit of positivity as well, in the sense of it tends to mean that you're putting in all this hard work and you're going through all this stress because you are achieving something. There is this sense of completion because the cards go from Ace to 10 before it hits the Page, Knight, Queen, and King. So the 10 is almost a completion. So it almost feels like this could mean that you guys were together for a long time, or again, you guys hit really intense milestones in your love journey. I'm not seeing this as like you guys literally broke up like after you dated for 2 months. I'm not seeing that in this reading. I'm really seeing like you both put in a lot of hard work and effort to work together. In the beginnings of your relationship, you may have both misaligned later, but we are seeing at the very least in the beginning there were goals that you guys reached out for and you guys were able to accomplish those goals. Again, that sense of completion, but there was kind of like a lot of hard work and there's also undue stress. I feel like it's like things could have gone a lot smoother, but for whatever reason they simply didn't. In the Knight of Wands in the reverse position, we are seeing someone who has a lot of, they're like on the move. They want to get these things done. And because their energy is all in these different areas, they end up seeing delays because they can't focus on one thing at a time. They could possibly have been somebody who had a lot of frustrations in their life. So they would get frustrated really easily, or they would take out their anger in a way that was directed toward you when it didn't need to be. Which it should never be directed towards people. We should deal with things within ourselves and healthily. But what I mean is, like, instead of them coping or working through things constructively, they just would burst out and say these things and whatnot. We are seeing, again, that scattered energy. Somebody who, they were either very, like, they had a lot of things going on, or they would jump from thing to thing that they were interested in, and that kind of has them frazzled. I'm just feeling a very, like, intensely frazzled kind of energy right now. Next, we have the Five of Pentacles, and in here, this card does talk about this sense of insecurity and isolation. So very much like they are kind of more drawn in on themselves now. And it's very possible that maybe during the time of you guys' relationship, they worried a lot about things. It could have been that they worried a lot about finances, but they could have also been so insecure within themselves that they worried a lot about what other people thought, or particularly what you thought about them. And that could have caused some upset. I'm just seeing somebody who really frets a lot, and yeah, their energy feels more chaotic. So I'm getting like air sign and fire sign energy a lot, more so than water or earth. Even though we have both earth and water represented here, I am feeling kind of more of it just feels more chaotic, I'd say. So they could very well be a water earth sign, but that's just what I'm feeling. I am feeling a stuckness too with like their emotions, as if they don't really talk about their emotions, or like didn't ever really open up. In the Seven of Cups, this is talking now a little bit more about this situation, about whether or not they're checking up on you, is we're seeing this Seven of Cups reversed, and this talks about temptation. It talks about this like illusion where maybe they're pretending everything is okay on their side, but yeah, this mainly means temptation. So there's something there. So I feel like it's very tempting for them to check up on you. Like they have thought about it, and we're gonna get further into the reading to see if they have, but it's definitely on their mind. At the very least, they've definitely thought about it. So let's go ahead and use this deck to pull some further messages. I want the definitive truth now from these cards. Is group two's person checking up on them? These two wanted to come out hand in hand. One more. Okay. We're seeing in the Page of Swords reversed that there is, this card once more talks about like this haste, this quick movement kind of thing. This is an all talk, no action kind of card. So maybe they haven't done it yet. but they are tempted, is what I'm seeing. I'm almost getting a story with all three of these cards that's coming to me, because they feel like they go hand in hand pretty easily, and it kind of just tells a story. It almost feels like they want to check up on you but haven't, but there is that weakness there, because strength in the reverse position generally means weakness. They have this like self-doubt about them. It also means lack of self-discipline, so it's very possible that they just simply lack the self-discipline to stop themselves from doing this. However, with the Three of Cups here, this usually talks about like celebration and friendships and community and stuff like that. So it's interesting that it came out in this. When I first saw it, especially when this card is in the reverse position, it tends to mean that there's an affair of some sort. It tends to mean that there was a third person that's involved. So this could just be indication to those of you who are watching this that this could be showing like either they cheated, or they had somebody on the side, or they jumped ship really quick. Like it's like you guys broke up and they instantly got with somebody else, and it's because they have this like lack of confidence and this sort of like weakness within them. Again, that haste energy too, like they're so quick, they just feel so quick that it kind of tells me this story that they feel like they can't resist wanting to check up on you, but because they had this third person situation in here, they almost feel bad, like they can't check up on you because of this. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, because this is a general reading. Some people are watching this reading hoping this person is thinking about them and they want them back, perhaps even despite this. And there are other people who are like, I just want confirmation because I do not want them back. I don't want to hear from them. So take what resonates with this. But for some of you, I am definitely getting this feeling like they have checked up on you and they feel bad afterwards. They feel this sense of guilt that they're checking up on you. And again, that lack of self-discipline, like they told themselves, I'm not going to look into them, but now they do. And why they feel bad is because of this Three of Cups here. For others, though, I am getting that they haven't just yet, but they are so tempted. Like, again, I keep getting drawn to this card here, this temptation card. Like, they keep feeling drawn toward you. So if you're somebody that does not want this person checking up on you, do not feel bad or afraid to use that block button. Like, honestly, it is there for a reason. You need to block this person if you do not want them near you. Let's move into some advice. I would love advice for group 2. The Ten of Wands in the reverse position. One more, please. And the Seven of Cups again in the reverse position. Yeah, so they're really, really tempted. And I think you're tempted too, almost. I feel like you're almost watching this because like you feel like you want to, or you do actively check up on them as well. Not to call you out, but like we all get curious, but I'm getting this feeling like specifically for you, you're going through some hardships right now and you have so much responsibility on your plate. You're going through so much of this stress that that you feel like in order to avoid your adult life, you're kind of doing things to check up on them too. This is also really interesting because I just realized we pulled the 10 of Wands a second time. However, this one is in the reverse position versus this one. So it almost feels like a release of this hard work, burden, that like stress. But with it in the reverse position, it almost feels like you're kind of avoiding, you're trying to avoid something. Ease up on yourself. That's the advice that I want to give for this, is I feel like you're really talking down on yourself a lot right now. And I feel like you're kind of like, well, why am I not over it yet? Like if you do check up on them, you're sitting there going like, well, why? I don't want to be looking on them. I don't want to see their stuff, but you keep doing it. Almost feels kind of the same way. You guys feel similar in that sense. I wonder if it's just like you guys were so involved with one another. Like again, you were almost married, or there was an engagement, or you guys lived together. Some mix there where it's not a clean break. It's really jagged and hard to fully pull away. So I get that. Again, that 7 of Cups reversed. We're seeing that repeat here where there's that temptation. So I really think that you both kind of have the same energy. That's so odd. And like, I'm getting like this weird sort of feeling where someone feels almost like regretful. I'm gonna pull actually another card. I did not do this for group 1, so don't tell them, but I am gonna pull one more card because I really am interested in what's going on in your reading. Can I get, okay. Thanks. The card just flew out. Get one more card, please, for group 2. Wow, 7 of Cups again. Guys, what's going on? Okay. So we saw this 4 of Pentacles kind of fly out, and this card is all about gaining control back, having the sense of security and stability. It's these 4 pillars that are keeping you stable. And again, this freaking 7 of Cups, I don't know if 7 is like one of your lucky numbers or if it's a number that you look out for or something, but it keeps coming up so heavily right now for you guys. So in this 7 of Cups, with it being upright, this is, again, it's about illusions. It's about having this like wishful thinking and making choices. I'm almost getting that like you guys kind of wish that you guys could go back, like mutually. I'm getting this weird feeling like you both have been separate for a little while, and like you both kind of want to reach out to each other, and you're having this wishful thinking moment being like, well, maybe they've changed, or maybe like they want me back, kind of thing. And that could be completely off the mark. It could simply be you having choices in taking this into your own hands, and again, blocking them completely and stopping yourself from viewing them, taking that into your own hands, having the strength to no longer check up on their stuff as well. But for some of you, I'm getting this weird, because I keep getting drawn to the ring in here. I'm drawn toward that and thinking you want what you had before this happy home and this like engagement again. And it's kind of maybe messing with your mind a little bit. You're kind of like, well, is that what they want? Is it what I actually want? Do I really want to go through all that stress and burden again? I hope this resonates with somebody, because it is such a distinct message, and it's so strange because I really wasn't thinking that I was going to see this kind of reading, but you know, things happen when you work with tarot. Next, I'm going to try to pull you or their sun, moon, or rising zodiac. So let's go ahead and get that. The first one we're seeing come out is Leo. Next we have Pisces. And lastly, we have Virgo. So I'll set this over here. Interesting, guys. Very interesting. Any last messages for group 2? Anything that we can share with them? Ooh, we've got Leo a second time. So I'm wondering if this is either your or their zodiac sign, specifically your sun sign, because it came out twice. And I had mentioned before where it felt like there was either fire or air energy because of that chaos. It feels very chaotic, scattered. Leos can sometimes have that as some negative traits. However, the positive traits on here we're seeing is creative, vibrant, and a leader. So someone who has natural like leadership qualities. Let's keep going. Advice for group 2 or any other messages. Whew. So this is compass. And it says follow your inner compass. So whatever you are legitimately drawn toward doing, whatever your inner self is trying to guide you toward, listen to that. Listen to that inner guidance, because I feel like you guys are kind of also having scattered and stressed out energy right now. You must feel like you're like, I need a sign or else I'm not going to make a decision. You know what I mean? Very interesting group 2. I would say that you trying to build up this sense of control, regaining your power, and thinking with a clear head in order to follow what it is that you truly want is going to help guide you during this point. I do think that there's a lot of emotional stuff that is going to have to be worked through, especially seeing the 7 of Cups multiple times. I think that if you are wishing for them to be checking on you or for them to come back, for them to message you, things like that, you have to do some inner work, especially dealing with your emotions and this past situation that happened, and weigh up those pros and cons and see if it's actually something that you want. Because again, we're feeling that very scattered energy. It almost feels like a desperation for wanting attention, wanting this this connection to come back. I almost feel like too that it's almost not in your court. Like the ball's not in your court. It's up to them to come back to you and talk to you, I think. And so that's why you don't have this control. But you need to regain control of yourself and your situation in order to make any progress in your life and really clear your head and before you make this decision. Honestly, I kind of get this feeling like they have either reached out to you before or they've thought about it. And they've definitely checked up on you before. But as of recently, I don't know if they have or not, which is not the answer that you're looking for. I wanted a definitive yes or no. So it's frustrating there because you're kind of in this like limbo. I almost feel like for some of you, again, they do check up on you, but they feel bad whenever they do it. Like guilty. I'm going to go ahead and pull one last card, this oracle card here. What are the last messages that we can receive today for group number 2? Ooh, this one here is Pesci, and it says, listen to yourself. So again, like I mentioned before, you have to follow your inner compass. You really have to listen to yourself. You have to have your own confidence and the knowledge that you know what's truly right for you. I don't know why I'm like it's hard for me to express this. So I don't know if you have a hard time talking about this person or have a hard time when you're thinking about them, but it almost feels like you feel so intensely about them that you have a hard time letting them go and have a hard time releasing this sort of pain that they have left you with. And you know in like your heart of hearts the right answer. So you may know that this person's not good for you, or they're not coming back, or it would never work out, but you keep covering it up for some reason. But you need to truly listen to yourself and release yourself from this situation. Again, if you need to, blocking them, doing what you can to go through healing, if that's needing to talk to someone or needing to do some really intense introspection, just because you can't keep revisiting this person. I'm gonna pull a couple of tiles to see if we can get initials from you or their first, middle, or last name. So I've got 4. The first one we have is C. Then we have Q. E. And then lastly, we have P. And I'll set those there for you guys as well. So to quickly recap for you, group number 2, we are seeing in the 10 of Wands that it felt like in the relationship, it felt like a lot of hard work and a lot of stress. You guys had so many burdens and so much responsibility put upon you, but it felt like you guys hit these really intense milestones where you guys actually achieved something together. You either were able to live in an apartment or purchase a house together. Maybe you guys went on a lot of vacations together. Maybe you were engaged, things like that. In the Knight of Wands, I'm sensing some sort of masculine energy. So whether they are male or they are just male identifying or have masculine energy about them. But in the Knight of Wands, we are seeing somebody who has possibly fire sign energy, again, that haste, that scattered energy, maybe somebody who got frustrated really, really easily, and it caused a lot of delays in you guys' life. In the 5 of Pentacles, we see that they could possibly have been a worrier. There could have been issues with money going on. Either they were very stressed about money, or perhaps you guys, maybe you went through some financial loss because of certain habits they had. So say they were somebody who really liked to spend money on frivolous things, and that caused stress in you guys' life as well. I'm seeing that. They seem like somebody that was very insecure and also kept themselves pretty isolated. Then we had our first of 3 7 of Cups, this one in the reverse position, indicating that there is some temptation. So I'm really seeing this temptation that they think about it. They do think about messaging you, or think about, at the very least, checking up on you. We had the Page of Swords in the reversed position, which indicated this kind of like, again, that haste, that quick movement, as well as all talk and no action. So it almost feels like they haven't done it in a while. Like maybe they said something, oh, I just got this. Maybe they did reach out to you a while ago and they said something along the lines of being like, oh, like I'm just going through some things right now. Like I'll come back to you. Or maybe they promised you something. Maybe they were like, I'm gonna change, or they apologized to you, or something happened along those lines. And then like you guys kind of separated again, and now you're in this weird limbo. Because I keep feeling that. I keep feeling like you don't quite know where you're supposed to stand with this person. So it almost feels like they led you on, and now you're like, now what the hell do I do? Next, we had the Strength in the reverse position. So they do have this sense of weakness and this self-doubt and this lack of self-discipline. So I do feel like for some of you, they do check up on you. But for others, I feel like they maybe have stopped after a while. I think they used to, and they've stopped. But in this Three of Cups, I'm really seeing this as they definitely like they either had an affair and they feel guilty because of that, and that's why things are all messy and why you're not quite sure if you want them to reach out or what. This can also be possibly that maybe they're still kind of in your circle of friends, because the Three of Cups normally is about like celebration and community and friendship. So they could maybe still be in your circle, and that's also why it's messy, because maybe you guys built a life with friends around you and you're just kind of like, I sometimes have to see this person. So things like that. We had in the 10 of Cigarettes, or the 10 of Wands in the reverse position, which again, mentioned here, shows this feeling like maybe you are needing to avoid some responsibility. So sometimes you think about this person when you want to avoid responsibility, and you're just taking on too much onto yourself. So you really need to forgive yourself and let go of some of this past pain I'm seeing. Then in the Seven of Cups reversed again, we are seeing once more that feeling of temptation. So that's what I was getting. Like, it feels like it's on both sides. Like, you're almost watching this video because you're like, I'm curious, because like I still look at their stuff, so I wonder if they still look. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Then we had the Four of Pentacles, which is talking about, for advice, you guys really gaining back your sense of control and stability, and really building up your pillars, building up a new foundation for yourself, because this person is no longer in your life. You can't keep holding on to them and letting them lead you on, kind of deal, if that resonates with you, because that's just the strongest part of the like feeling that I'm getting. We had Seven of Cups one last time here, which does talk about this sort of like fantasy and this illusion, thinking like, oh, I wonder if I can win them back, or if they'll ever come back to me, or whatever. And it's just this wishful thinking where you want what you had, but you've been hurt and things have changed. So it's likely things aren't going to go back to the way they were. And you need to realize that you have choices that you can pick from, and it's up to you to make those decisions. Next, we had Leo. So this could be your sun, moon, or rising, or theirs. If it is not either of yours, taking on this sort of leader mentality, taking on this bright, intense, passionate personality of a fire sign in order to build your life back up. Then we had Compass with follow your inner compass. So you need to really sit down and think on the things that truly point you in the right direction, and actually follow through with those things. So listening to your heart of hearts, again, listen to yourself, and don't betray what you're telling yourself. What your inner self is saying, you need to believe in and follow through on. So again, group number 2, thank you so much for getting to the end of your reading. I am so sorry we weren't able to get a very definitive answer. I feel like we got some really messy back and forth, like maybe, but also you're also into it kind of thing. So if you feel safe to do so, please let me know if that in particular resonated, because that was such a strong pull, and I'm really interested to find out if that is actually a real thing for you guys. But again, Feel free to, if you liked the video, to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick card readings in the future, and to join the Crow Coven. And hopefully you guys were able to gather some messages that you either wanted or needed to hear during this time. Again, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in our next one. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading all about whether or not this person that you are currently thinking on, whether or not they're checking up on you. So this could be something like if they are looking at your social media, or perhaps they're even asking friends in your life currently about you still, sort of situation. So keep this person in mind as we go along in this reading. I'm going to try to tap into their energy. So you guys chose the Kawaii Tarot deck along with this Zebra Jasper. And in this stone here, this can really show the truth of someone's nature. It helps to see past illusions, and it's able to really bring you, yes, that truth of the matter to the forefront. It can also really help when you need to ground yourself. So if you're going through perhaps you're feeling a little bit paranoid right now and you're nervous about the idea of this person checking up on you, it can kind of help ground you back to this sort of sense of reality instead of really being taken in by your anxieties. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by doing a back of the deck reading. So the card that we had back here is Justice in the reverse position. So this is for the overall energy of this reading, and what I'm getting from this card is that it almost feels as if probably particularly you, where it felt like there was some dishonesty in this relationship and there was some unfairness. So I think that it feels almost as if something happened that was out of your control, something that they did to you that really caused this relationship to break down. This can also be about a lack of accountability. So it could be that maybe this person that you're thinking about, maybe they never admitted fault to this action, but you like knew deep down kind of situation. So let's go ahead and get started with your reading. I hope you've been having a good week. Group number 3, let me tap into group 3's person's energy. Have they checked up on group 3? We have 2 cards that I'm going to pull out immediately together, and I will read those together as well. Two more. Ooh, 2 more that came out together as well. Interesting. So to get started with this, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and along with this card, we're seeing the 8 of Cups in the reverse position. So those 2 are working in tandem with one another. So with this, we're seeing this Queen of Pentacles, who is generally a very practical and down-to-earth person, someone who's very secure. But when we combine that with the 8 of Cups in the reverse position, we're seeing this feeling of as if someone is walking away from a situation because they're seeing that basically there's nothing that's there for them any longer, kind of thing. This could be the biggest thing that I was getting from this is this almost feels like your energy, which is interesting. Particularly, I'm getting this feeling like the situation could have been that maybe you were hoping that this person would either come back to you or be in your life again for some reason. And you're starting to recognize the fact that you have to be a queen to yourself, really step up for yourself, and start to walk away from this unrealistic expectation that you may have of the possibility of this person coming back into your life. So maybe this is kind of a sign for you. Maybe you've been sitting there going like, like, I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. And now you're seeing this almost as a sign of being able to really let go and move on. I'm seeing it in this way because we've got this Emperor in the reverse position, which it was so striking because it was the only card that came out as its own, that it feels like this is our subject today. So this is the person that you're thinking about right here, especially with it being in the reverse position. We're getting this this feminine and masculine energy here. Of course, you could have whatever relationship you guys had. It could be very much that you don't even identify as female, they don't identify as male, but it could just be that you guys have this dynamic where you possess more feminine qualities and they possess more masculine qualities. But in the Emperor reversed, we're seeing someone who feels like they have far too much control over certain situations, or they demand almost the sort of control. It's a very dominating kind of personality and kind of feeling. And it's also someone who is very inflexible when it comes to situations. So it's kind of like their way or the highway, like even though you have good ideas, because it wasn't their idea, they're not going to let that fly kind of feeling. And it's interesting because these two do give me these like very structured earth sign kind of energy. But we're seeing almost as if it's not working as a partnership. You guys should be able to see eye to eye, but there's something, likely their ego, that's holding them back from being able to properly work with you. And perhaps you've been kind of a little bit charmed by this person to where you kind of forgave that, and now you're seeing it as a like, okay, like I gotta let this go. These two cards also flew out with each other as well when I pulled them. So we have the Five of Pentacles along with the High Priestess in the reverse position too. Okay, yeah, I'm getting this really distinct feeling, especially because we're seeing this feminine nature on both sides and the masculine in the middle. The Five of Pentacles deals with feeling a lot of worry, feeling very isolated and very insecure, so very paranoid or nervous in general. And then combining this with the High Priestess in the reverse position, we're seeing someone who really can't tap into their inner voice. They're not listening to their intuition, and they need to be able to. So they're not listening to maybe certain signs. Combining it with this Five of Pentacles, it's almost like, yes, they're worried about something and they feel insecure about something, but they're not allowing themselves to process the reason why they feel this way is because of this Emperor in the reverse position. Again, we have this zebra jasper here that helps us look beyond the illusions that that are in front of us. So maybe this is a message for someone out there who really needed to hear that you needed to look past this like charming person, this person who had a lot of control. It just feels like they were very stifling energy, didn't allow you to express yourself or express your ideas, and really start to move past that. So it's very interesting because in groups 1 and 2, I kind of got a fairly decent read on whether or not the person checked up on them, whereas you guys told almost a story about your relationship. So hopefully this part resonated with you, but I am really looking for those intense details. So let's go ahead. Let's tap into this person's energy. Now that we've got them here, now that we've got this little story here, has group 3's person been checking up on them. Interesting, this star. King of Cups reversed. And the King of Swords. Okay. So how I'm seeing these cards, the first thing I thought of when I saw the star was almost the sense of like relief. It was almost kind of a like, oh, well, that's good. I kept hearing that. The star deals with this like hope, renewal, and newness coming to someone's life, or just really this fresh sort of chapter, this fresh start. And I'm kind of wondering if this is again kind of tied to you in the sense of it's you being like, when I know these answers, I'll be able to start on this fresh start. You know what I mean? It feels weird. It just seems so oddly hopeful in the sense of not being tied to that person is what it feels like. It could be almost that, like, for some of you, it might be that you're really hoping that they are, to the point where you're just really clinging on to any like potential chance. Again, like how we were seeing up here, where it was someone who realizes they need to walk away from a certain situation because they want and wish for something, but they kind of realize that they're just drifting without this person. And they're not listening to their inner selves when it comes to fully breaking away from them. It could be that you're really, really hoping that they are checking up on you. But combined with these two cards here, we have like the King of Cups in the reverse position. And he is about someone who is very, very moody and volatile, and someone who is very good at emotionally manipulating people. Combined with the King of Swords, he is one who's very good when it comes to having very clear thinking and a lot of power and authority. So it almost feels like, combined with like the Emperor, and then we pulled these two kings as well, this person has a lot of very strong masculine energy, and they have almost this just such intense leadership qualities that it's kind of hard to see their flaws. Like, they're good at public speaking, they're good at talking their way out of any sort of situation, they're good at putting up a front to people that really sells it as if they're this extremely charming and just amazing person overall. And again, we had seen in Justice Reversed, it felt like something happened where they didn't take responsibility for something. And that's what caused this relationship to truly sour. And now you're sitting there trying to like wish for them back almost. Again, with like the star, it almost feels like you still want this person in your life. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on them, and perhaps they aren't such a like just negative or like bad person, but it's just that like this one thing that happened really upset you and really caused such a change in you guys' life. And it came from them as a place of them exerting their power and not wanting to like give. Like, maybe they're really, really stubborn. Like, it almost feels like they're just super stubborn, and they're using this as a form of like emotional control over you because they know that you're so intensely invested in them that they can kind of lord that over you, which again, that isn't really a nice thing to do, but that's just the vibes that I'm getting from this. And so currently it almost feels like they've got this strength about them to where they haven't checked up on you, because they're like, no, they know that you're checking up on them. They know that you're the one who would put in that effort, and they can go about their business. That's what it almost feels like right now with these cards. Let's pull a couple more. I'm really interested. They feel like it feels almost like I'm being shut out, like there's a wall that's been erected. Kind of like when someone gives you the silent treatment and they just simply don't talk to you. It almost feels like that. Interesting. I was shuffling, and that was the only card in the deck that was actually like backwards. We have yet another king. This one is King of Pentacles. Again, that earth sign energy that I was talking about. Interesting. So many kings. So this person, yeah, this card in particular. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse position. So the king, again, feels very similar to the Emperor, but just the minor arcana version of it almost, where it has a strong sense of security, control, power, a lot of discipline, and they know what they want and how to get it. Combined with this Ace of Pentacles reversed, this is indicating almost like we're seeing here that it means like lost opportunity, and there's some lack of planning on someone's part. Almost like I'm getting this weird feeling that it almost feels like this breakup situation happened and they thought that you would like be crawling back to them, and you haven't, and that's why they're being a little more moody. But I am getting that they are holding pretty strong in the sense that they have not checked up on you. They're really banking on you being the one to do it. It's like you're the one. If you want this to work, you have to come to me and apologize to me. That's what it almost feels like, which does not feel good. Let me tell you that. Group number 3. Let's continue and get a couple more messages for you, because this is very interesting. We have Sacral coming out, which says creativity and self-love. So it's very, very possible that you need to focus on yourself a lot more during this time, instead of relying on their control. So if it almost feels like they kind of ran your life a little bit for some reason. I don't know why I'm getting that. That's such a weirdly, it's just an odd thing to be thinking about, but it almost feels like you just listen to them. Like they would almost direct you and make decisions for you. And now you're feeling a little lost. Again, like you're feeling like you can't listen to your inner voice and make the correct decisions for yourself because your rock is no longer here, is what it feels like. So yes, tapping into your self-love, being able to really hone your focus in on yourself and what you truly want. And also with creativity here too, is maybe you're somebody that needs to express yourself through a creative lens of some sort. Perhaps you're a writer and you get a lot of your frustrations out when you write, or just your emotions in general, or your wants and fears. They kind of get built up into your writing. It could also be that maybe you're just an artist who does digital art or traditional kind of thing, and you put a lot of focus on that. Maybe that is something that you need to put a little time and energy into. And then we have, next to that card, we have Heart's Ease, which again, it's kind of talking about trying to settle your heart, settle your mind during this point. But it also says, learn by fully feeling. So I want you to really look into yourself and kind of feel how it makes you feel that you are not talking to this person. Like, what's going on in your life at this point in time that's directly affected by this person not being there, and see the things that are missing that you wish you had in your life once more, and really see if you're able to supply that for yourself. It almost feels like you need to be your own leader. You need to be the person that steps up for yourself during this time, because they're not budging. That's the feeling that I'm getting, is truthfully, is like they're not budging. They seem like I don't think they have you blocked, but I don't think they look at your stuff either. I'm gonna roll this Astro dice to see if we can get either yours or their sun, moon, or rising. So the first one we have coming out is Gemini. Then we have Sagittarius. Ooh. And then lastly, we have Pisces. And then I'm going to pull a couple of these tiles to see if I can get any initials from you guys' first, middle, or last name. I'm going to pull 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I was having a hard time counting. The first one we have coming out is J. Then we have, oh gosh, E. Next we have L. And last, a unique one, we have X. There we go. And then I'm going to pull one last card for you guys before we get into our recap. So for group 3, what further messages can we give them? Ooh. Okay. This card says the brothers, and it says do not rush. So take the time right now in your life to really hone in and focus on your goals, focus on yourself instead of giving this person your energy. Because I'm getting the feeling like they are not trying to give back to you at all. I'm getting this feeling like they simply, it almost feels like, this is gonna sound really harsh, but it almost feels like they're like, well, I didn't really need your attention anyway, and I can just find it elsewhere with someone else. And so they're kind of going along with their life and just continuing to be themselves and not really looking at themselves. That's why I'm getting that like justice reversed, is that unfairness, is there's no balance there. And so you're feeling all this anxiety and worry and stress and not able to listen to yourself. And yeah, while they are moody and kind of a little bit like out of it as well, it almost feels like they've always been like that. And so now they're just continuing down their own path, thinking that they're right and thinking that they did nothing wrong, and kind of like you were the crazy one sort of situation. So you need to, I think, find yourself and who you are without this person, because I don't see them trying to turn around and come back to you, if that makes sense. All right, group number 3. I'm going to go ahead and recap for you real fast. These 2 cards came out together. It really gave me this feeling that this was about you, with the Queen of Pentacles being someone who can really know exactly like because you're very down to earth, you know the things that you need in your life, so you're very practical and typically pretty secure in yourself. But when it's combined with that 8 of Cups, we're in the reverse position, we're seeing though that you're kind of aimlessly drifting about right now, because you almost feel like you don't have that typical stability that you normally do. And because of this, you're kind of recognizing that this situation is hopeless and you need to just walk away. Then we had the Emperor in the reverse position that really gave me this feeling as if this person had more masculine tendencies and that right now or in general, that they tend to be someone who's very, very controlling. They have this dominating personality and very inflexible when it comes to like how they want things done and how they go about things. Then we had the Five of Pentacles and the High Priestess reversed actually come out together as well, where in the Five of Pentacles, we were seeing this sense of worry and dealing with isolation and insecurity within oneself. Another message for someone too that could be something that they need to hear is the Five of Pentacles also deals with financial loss and poverty in particular. So it's really, again, that feeling of worry and hopelessness kind of situation where it could be that you are struggling financially since this person left your life as well, is a message that I'm getting for some of you. Then we had the High Priestess in reverse, which means that you can't listen to your inner voice. So there's something going on that's making it hard for you to notice that you're worrying about this person still, and making it hard for you to work through those worries and anxieties. Then we had the Star, where it almost feels like this weird energy of like you wish and kind of hope that they would come and talk to you again. And I'm seeing in both the King of Cups and the King of Swords, again, a lot more masculine energy, but also someone who isn't afraid to be emotionally manipulative and can be very volatile. Somebody that can have a lot of, they can just hold a lot of like anger or like frustration within themselves, and it comes out against other people. And then in the King of Swords, we're seeing somebody who is a very clear thinker, someone who has a lot of authority and is able to really cut through to the point and again be that leader. We had so many leader cards along with the King of Pentacles, so all of these kings nearby, once again giving us this feeling of like a natural a person who's very naturally in control and has a lot of power and a lot of security as well. Then we saw in the Ace of Pentacles reverse that there is some sort of lost opportunity. So I'm seeing this as, it feels like this is a lost opportunity in the sense of they didn't think that you guys were going to stay broken up, but they're also not feeling bothered by it. And I'm really seeing this as if they truly don't really care that you guys are broken up, and it feels as if they have moved on and you're still kind of stuck in it and really struggling with that loss. Then I pulled just a couple more cards for you. I had Sacral, which showed creativity and self-love. So you could be somebody who writes out your emotions or uses art in some way to heal, and then really needing to focus on that self-love, finding yourself beyond this person, because I'm almost getting this feeling like you guys won't reconnect. Then we have Heart's Ease, which says learn by fully feeling. So really feel how your emotions are taking you beyond this point, and allow yourself to listen to yourself and try to tap into that inner High Priestess. And lastly, with the Brothers, we had do not rush. So don't rush yourself through this healing process. Really take the time that you need to grieve and take the time that you need to process things. Also with do not rush, for some of you, I'm getting this feeling like this almost makes you feel like needing to do something drastic, like either messaging them or blocking them very suddenly and out of nowhere or something. I don't think you need to worry about those sorts of things. I think that it's pretty settled on their end. So now you have to worry about forgiving yourself and moving on beyond them on your end. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. I am wishing the best for you, group number 3. I know this may have possibly been a little sad to hear for some of you, but just know that the universe has your back and you can heal from this situation. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Tarot Pick a Card readings in the future. And also, if this did resonate with you, I am definitely very interested to know. So let me know if it's safe to do so in the comments below if this did sound like your situation. Anyway, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading all about whether or not they check up on you. So this is about someone that you had a romantic relationship with at some point, maybe a touch and go or situationship kind of thing. And we're trying to find out if they are looking into your social media or perhaps chatting with your friends, things like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you chose the Pink Pain Tarot along with this raw crystal quartz, then this will be your reading for today. And in this raw crystal quartz, I'm getting this odd feeling from this where it almost looks, you see how there's so much more concentration and then it gets clearer toward the point. It almost feels like this is kind of like your journey where it feels like there was a lot of muddiness and you felt very clouded in this situation. And as you go, it starts to become clearer and clearer and you're regaining the sense of self once more. Crystal quartz really amplifies whatever feelings, emotions, energies that you put into it. So I'm kind of seeing that same thing a bit for you as well during this reading. And then also I'm going to do a back of the deck energy check. So we have the Three of Knives, otherwise known as the Three of Swords. And this is a very intense card. This is basically like the heartbreak card. So this is really giving me this feeling of perhaps you guys had a very messy breakup. There was this feeling of painful separation and a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow from this as well. Perhaps you thought this person was going to be your soulmate and now you are left wondering and picking up the pieces, or perhaps that's how you felt in the beginning and now you're starting to see with more clarity, you're starting to see that it isn't the end of the world, that you are no longer in union with this person. So let's go ahead and get into your reading, group number 4. I'd really like to tap into your person's energy, so please keep them in mind as I go through this reading. Can we see a little bit about group 4 and their person's relationship, or whether or not this person is still checking up on them? The first one we have is the World in the reverse position. A very strong, intense energy right there. Starting out right. Then we have the Ace of Cups. Oh, this is so intense. Two of Pentacles. And then the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position. I don't know why, for some reason I just got like really emotional, and it almost feels like for some of you that this almost feels like you legitimately like lost this person, in the sense of like, I think it almost feels like they passed on, which I did not get for any of the other readings. But I'm specifically feeling this because of the World in the reverse position is this lack of closure, and it feels like a very intense sudden thing, especially with how intense this card is. So like the Pink Pain Tarot is about like the darker, deeper emotions, and as you can see with this figure on here, they have this very intense stare. And also with the imagery on here, obviously like the arrow going through their temple, the bleeding from the nose and the mouth, and these two hearts, I just got like really hit with this sudden like painful like urge. It almost felt like I did tear up. I'm not crying, but like you heard it in my voice. I definitely know you did. But it feels like, along with how we saw the Three of Swords, it feels like, again, that really painful separation, that grief. I feel like for some of you, this was honestly this is somebody that you lost, in the sense of you lost them from this world, and this is your way of kind of checking up on them and seeing if they check up on you in that way, which I was not expecting at all when I started doing this reading. I was like, haha, exes who stalk people's social media, but like that really just came out super strongly. And the reason why I'm feeling such intensity here is we see in the Ace of Cups here, this card is about love and compassion and overwhelming emotion. So it almost feels like a situation where for some of you that this was a person that you were deeply in love with, they were deeply in love with you, but you guys had that painful separation and there was that grief there from that Three of Swords because there was that passing, which in turn has left the world. It's like this person meant the world to you, but with it being in reverse, it's giving us that lack of completion. You guys didn't reach the end of your journey together, and there was that lack of closure where you weren't able to say goodbye to them. For others who this is not that intense for you, I'm going to read for you as well, because that, I feel like that was just a strong message for maybe one person. I'm going to keep that person in mind as I go, but for probably the stronger collective, it almost feels like, again, you guys really cared for each other, but there was a reason why you had to separate. There was something almost that pulled you guys apart, and perhaps it wasn't as intense as a actual literal death, but it was a death of the relationship, and it almost feels like something, I don't know if the lights just flickered, but it almost felt like it did. My eyes just like maybe did something weird, but it does feel like you again had something that took you away from one another. And so I don't quite know what it could be as to why you guys wouldn't be able to be in contact with one another, because there's so many ways. Like, we're in such a digital era that it's very hard to no longer find someone unless, you know, they purposefully don't want to be found. So we're seeing in the world reversed again that lack of closure. There was something that you wanted to say or that needed to be talked about in this relationship, but then it wasn't. So it's very possible that that could be the situation. And perhaps this is just you holding this intense feeling of love and compassion and emotion for this person. But it's weird because I'm almost getting like it feels like it's both of you. We're seeing in the Two of Pentacles here that there is a need to prioritize something. I'm seeing this as prioritizing yourself and really focusing on yourself. There's this need for balance, or perhaps when you were together, you felt this sense of balance. You felt aligned with one another. You were able to adapt to one another. So I'm seeing this almost as if, like, when you guys were in union, it felt like a partnership. It didn't feel like you were doing a bunch of heavy lifting and then like they never gave back to you kind of thing. It really feels like you guys worked together very well. And maybe that's why you're so confused about this. I almost feel like for some people, this is literally like a ghosting situation, where you still feel very deeply for this person and you felt so aligned with them, but then again, a really quick, painful separation. You're confused. You don't understand why they were pulled away from you so fast. And you're like, are they looking for me? Are they trying to contact me ever? Then we have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position over here, which this is showing that there is some lack of progress and planning. And this could be our answer right here. It could simply be that they don't check up on you because, again, there's that lack of progress and planning. It could also be something of a short-term focus, like maybe they did for a really small amount of time right after the separation happened, but maybe they have moved on from that as well. So I'm very interested to see what's going on in that card. So I'm going to pull some more clarifying cards. I really am interested. So for this Page of Pills here, can we get some clarity? I'd like to know if Group 4's person is checking up on them. Whoa, so many cards just flew out, so I'm going to not take all of those. We're going to shuffle a little more. Five of Cups in the reverse position. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start crying. Hold on. Okay. So I pulled these very separately for as soon as I saw this and I was registering it. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional again. I very much tied it to that first message. So for whoever comes across this video, whenever you come across it, this is, I think, specifically tailored to this one person. But this card literally means the Five of Cups reversed is literally moving on. And it's a sense of acceptance and forgiveness for something. So for someone who legitimately lost someone, I'm seeing this as them coming through and legitimately being like, they're trying to tell you to move on. They're trying to tell you to accept this loss, and they're trying to basically ask for forgiveness through this card. I've never had such an intense pull or reading in this way before, so this is kind of striking for me. But yeah, it just feels almost like they're trying to say that it's time that you accept this situation and that you move on from this situation. And it can also be very aligned with implying that they are moving on. Again, feeling this cloudiness here in the beginning, and as you head toward the point, feeling more and more clear before it is crystal clear and you are able to let go and you are able to see past all the illusions and everything. It almost feels like the same sort of journey, is that it's possible that they have been checking up on you and they're going through that moving on phase. Then I put these cards next to it specifically, other than not having room, but I was thinking more distinctly about people who hadn't lost someone. Again, this card can kind of tie in with it. It could very much be that they are moving on and they aren't checking up on you because for some reason, there was this severing, and now they are just going forward. And the forgiveness part of it I'm interested in is I'm interested in whether or not they wish that if you did explain to them that you would forgive them, or something is happening there where it feels very odd, because combined with these cards, it's telling me a slightly different story. We're seeing in the Magician reversed this feeling of someone who does do a little bit of manipulating, or perhaps they don't plan things very well. Kind of like how we saw it in the Page of Pentacles, there was that lack of progress and planning. It feels kind of similar here, where it feels like they didn't plan something, and maybe they didn't realize they were gonna catch feelings for you, or maybe they didn't realize how intense your love was going to be from them. And so now they've suddenly had to disappear. The Magician really gives me this emotion and feeling of like being able to just up and leave, because they typically, when the magician is upright, is somebody who has a lot of skills and power and a lot of resourcefulness, so they feel really good within themselves to be able to get things done. So it almost feels very independent, like they can just like up and disappear and not be in your life suddenly anymore, kind of feeling. So I'm getting that, but with the magician reverse, it almost feels a little bit more malevolent. Feels a little more negative. Then we have the Four of Pentacles in the reverse position, and this calls for this feeling of self-protection. So it almost feels like they pulled away so suddenly because they had to protect themselves. This is going to sound really wild, but for some of you, I'm getting this feeling like this person was a catfish. And that's so strange that I just got that in my head. But if you think about it, it almost feels like you were like showing so much love and affection for them, and you guys had a great relationship. It felt great, felt like everything was amazing. And then there was a sudden painful separation where you weren't able to say goodbye, and you're so confused and don't understand. And again, there's that sorrow and grief. And it's because this person kind of knew all along, and they're moving on because they weren't in it as intensely as you were. And they, again, here with that Four of Pentacles reversed, is like because of self-protection, because this card also can mean like greed and materialism. So it's very much feels like they're just protecting themselves and they just want things for themselves. They were almost using you in a sense. So for some of you, I am kind of getting that feeling almost like they dipped from your life after they realized that you were getting too like into it, and they were kind of either scared or they just never were planning on all that was planning cards too, how we saw in the Page of Pentacles reversed and Magician reversed. They weren't planning on ever meeting you IRL, and if it ever got to that point where you were like, well, we should hang out, and they just kept putting it off and putting it off, and then they were like, well, next best thing, I'm going to disappear. So that could be just an example for this, but whatever your situation is, I am getting this feeling like this was to protect themselves and everything. So I'm getting this feeling like they, again, if they did check up on you, it was like almost right after they made this decision to cut away or whatever was getting in the way. But now they haven't, because it almost feels like there's been a bit of time. It feels like it's been a little while, and maybe you're just still so stuck and confused about this person. I'm going to pull a few more cards for you, group number 4. This has been a very intense and interesting reading so far. So can we get any more information or advice for group 4? I don't want to leave them in the dark. I don't want to leave them hanging because of this. The Four of Cups. And the Page of Wands in the reverse position. Okay. So in the Four of Cups here, we have this, almost this feeling and need for, I'm thinking for you to need to reevaluate your situation. Whichever one is calling to you, whichever one resonates with you, you need to sit down and really meditate on kind of what your next steps are. It almost feels like this card is generally a card of apathy, because it's a figure who's sitting against a tree, and they have 3 cups that are sitting in front of them, and someone is offering them a 4th one, but they have their arms crossed and they're just sort of looking at this last cup kind of thing, not sure if they really want to take it. They're contemplating, they're thinking about maybe taking it, but they're not 100% sure. They've already got 3 other cups, so why do they need that last one? So this is a point in time where I think you need to, whatever situation you're in, you need to sit down with yourself and really reevaluate what is going on in your life and try to work on your priorities. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we have in this Page of Wands reversed this feeling of you may be dealing with a lot of pessimism right now. Like perhaps there was a situation where you're ghosted online and now you're stressed out about dating because you were hurt by this person. And so now you're feeling very pessimistic when it comes to wanting to reach out and start new relationships kind of situation. Or you could feel whether your situation is closer aligned to the ghosting situation or closer aligned to the loss of someone, you could be suffering from a lack of direction. You're not sure where to go or what to do now that you've been through this. And so now you're having this really hard time in being able to focus and push forward with this sense of newness. I'm going to pull one more card for you guys because I'm interested in where this is going. Can I get one more card for clarity? Advice, rather. I would really like advice for group 4, please. Okay. So we have the 7 of Wands in the reverse position. And this is kind of like giving me this feeling like this is still what you're going through and what you're dealing with, kind of with it being aligned with like the Page of Wands reversed, again, 7 of Wands reversed. It's still kind of in the same family. It shows this need of being either overly protective of something, either your energy or your time, or overprotective of, again, you not wanting to deal with this heartache again. So you're feeling overprotective of yourself, feeling very overwhelmed. So you could just be feeling like so stressed out because you're overwhelmed from situations. Or lastly, it could be dealing with you feeling like I need to give up. Like really feeling like you can't do it anymore and you're just like done and sick of it. So for me, I'm very drawn toward this card's, the amount that I'm seeing in this card's of the star. I keep getting drawn to seeing the stars here, where the star deals with having this sense of renewal and having this serenity about you in your life and all of this hope. So as you can see in the card, we have like all the sparkles everywhere. And yeah, there's sparkles all about this deck, and then having the stars here kind of thing. It's just that my eyes keep getting drawn to it, and maybe it's just because they're so sparkly, but also I just feel deeply that the star is something that can really help in giving you this sense of hope and the sense of renewed spirituality as well. And for other advice, with the 7 of Wands upright, this card is about perseverance. It's about pushing through despite all of the challenges, despite any tension or conflict that is going on or stressors in your life, is that this figure here has their sword and they're just going to cut through all these roses because they're just going to keep going, keep moving on and moving forward. Again, there was a few cards in here that talked about this sense, this need to move on. So take that into consideration. Allow yourself that time to reevaluate and that time to sit through with your emotions, but realize when it has been long enough and you do need to treat yourself gently, forgive yourself, and move on from this situation as well. We're gonna do just a couple more cards for you. The first one we have coming out is Ghost Pipe, which again, we mentioned ghost, like we mentioned like ghosting for a while, or perhaps you are someone who believes in spirits. So if this person is perhaps a spirit, not to be insensitive, that feeling of, again, they're near you. But it says, immerse in your shadow's wisdom. So really tapping in deep to the things that you realize are either faults or realize are pain points in your life, and allowing them to be known, because a lot of times people just sort of hide when they have these pain points. They hide their betrayals, they hide their inner demons and things like that. But you're able to really recognize something when you see yourself as your complete being. A lot of people like to just present themselves as, oh, I'm just this nice person, or I don't know how long that's been messed up, I'm sorry. They like to present themselves as one thing and one thing only, and there's no other layers to them. But I really think you'd gain a lot from looking deep within and really being able to garner some wisdom from those pain points within yourself. And then next we have Crown, which says connected and elevated. So this feels like you connecting back in with yourself and really realizing your self-worth beyond all of this, being able to recognize the things that you need to do moving on from the situation. Again, these stars like all over the place. They're in this card too. So I keep getting drawn to all these stars that are everywhere in this reading, that I do think holding on to hope and really pushing forward. Again, that sense of serenity too, that calmness that comes about when you just feel so pointed towards one direction, one pure and strong direction. Also with Crown, for those of you who do believe in afterlife situations, again, that connected and elevated is almost giving me this feelings like you can feel when this person's around you. You do still feel very connected to this person. Sorry, I was hearing something. Okay, and I'm going to pull one last card for you. Group 4, what last message do we have? Okay. We have Giorno Giovanna, which says arise anew. So this is taking everything that you've gone through, taking everything that has culminated to this change in your life and coming out of it with this fresh perspective and this newness in strength. As you can see in this card, the figure has these butterfly wings. They're coming out of a cocoon from the back, and they are looking into the brightness of the world. So really allowing yourself, if you haven't been there, going into a cocoon or allowing yourself to be sheltered for a little bit of time before you come out with this sense of newness. This character that's on this card in particular highly, highly, highly represents hope, especially after the aftermath of, for some people, after a lot of death, having this brightness he almost represents like the star in general as well, because for one, he has a star on him that you can't see in this card, but also just in general, he gives off such a strong feeling of serenity, very, very calm. Obviously, like you can tell, just like the expression on his face is just very serene. Again, that hope. He is the hope, and going through a renewal. So yes, star I think is very important to you. So I don't know if maybe this is a symbol that you cling on to, or you like looking at the stars or something, but I'm very interested because my eyes kept getting drawn to it. And then when he showed up, I was like, you know what? That's very strange. So I'm going to go ahead and, just to finish off your reading, I'm going to roll this zodiac dice a few times to see if I can get you or your person's sun, moon, or rising signs. The first one we have coming out is Aries. And also, if I'm not wrong, I think he's an Aries too. That's very interesting. Then we have Taurus, And lastly, we have Libra. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm also going to pull 4 tiles to see if we can get you guys' first, middle, or last initials. I'm going to pull 4 of them. If I didn't already say that. Sorry, you guys' reading. Whew, you took it out of me, buds. All right. So the first one we have coming out is E. Then the next one we have is a unique one. We have V. Then we have, another unique one, Z. And then lastly, we have S. Oh my gosh, I got the name Evans from this. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Anyway, sorry. So I'm going to quickly recap for you group number 4. That was a lot to take in. I'm sorry for how long that reading seemed and how emotional it was. I will try to keep it together. We had the back of the deck energy was the 3 of Swords, which indicated this feeling of painful separation. There was this grief, this heartbreak, and intense sorrow, which for some of you I translated as if there was a passing of this person. We're seeing that because in the world reversed, we had this lack of closure, this lack of completion where you weren't able to say goodbye, and indicated as well as with the imagery of this card how beautifully violent this card can be with that intense stare and the blood and the hearts being there. It really felt like a soul connection. Next, we had in the Ace of Cups, again, that love, compassion, overwhelming emotion, which tied together and made me feel really intensely for one person that may watch this video when it comes out or in the future. It's about having lost a loved one. But for other people, it just feels like this weird, quick separation, as if possibly this person ghosted you and just left you with no answers to your questions. But you still care a lot about them. Next, we had in the 2 of Pills, it felt like you guys were really balanced, as if you worked together. So whether this was a real working relationship where, yes, you guys prioritized one another and everything was flowing well, or perhaps this person was kind of leading you on and letting you think that you guys worked well together. We're seeing that that was the overall feeling of you guys' relationship. Then we had in the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position, this feeling like there's this lack of progress, and it feels as if there was nothing going on either your end or their end. Either you cannot contact them or they are not contacting you. So there's this disconnect that I'm really feeling, in the sense of there's no progress when it comes to communication. So that's why I'm really getting like this person, if they did check up on you, it was a while ago, but I feel like they are moving on. And we got that further with the 5 of Cups reverse, where this card literally means moving on. It can also mean acceptance and forgiveness. So for some of you, again, those of you who lost someone, it could be that they're asking you to accept this situation, to move on and forgive them for leaving you behind. But for others, it could almost be like this person who feels a little greedy. It feels like they want you to move on and they would hope that you would forgive them. But things are a little complicated when it comes to that. Again, in this person, we're feeling this Magician reversed feeling of someone who could really manipulate and really has poor planning skills and can just up and leave at a drop of a hat, and also someone who can be very greedy and who is doing it for their own self-protection. They're keeping you away from them because of themselves. They're taking care of themselves first. Then I tried to pull some cards that were dealing a little bit deeper in this, either advice for you or this situation in general. And we saw this 4 of Cups, which means this need for reevaluation and to meditate and really think on things. And then behind it, we had the Page of Wands in the reversed position, which gave us this this feeling almost like you have this lack of direction. You're not sure where to go, and you may be feeling a little pessimistic because of the situation that you're in, but you need to reevaluate your life and work through that pessimism and work through that lack of direction. Lastly, we had the Seven of Wands in the reversed, which really gave me this feeling of you needing to persevere and you needing to keep pushing onward, because this card talks about how it feels almost like you want to give up. You feel overwhelmed and overly protective of something that's going on. But in this card, I also saw a lot of stars, and I started noticing we had stars here, we had stars here, and then next when we pulled Ghost Pipe, there was even more, as well as Crown. And with Ghost Pipe, again, immerse in your shadow's wisdom, so focus on your inner demons, really think on the knowledge and power that you could extract from that. And then with Crown, that connected and elevated, so connecting back to yourself and really elevating yourself to a higher frequency. And then lastly, in this card here, we had Arise Anew. So once more, he indicates the feeling of the star and really gives me that hope, that serenity, that renewal, rejuvenation kind of feeling. It feels almost as if there's this strong calling that this is what you need to do in order to move past this situation. So thank you guys so much for watching to the end of your video. That was very intense reading. And if you liked it or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick card readings in the future. And also, if it is safe for you to do so, or you feel okay commenting, I would love to hear from you if this sounds like your situation. I don't want to push anyone though. If you don't feel safe or you feel too emotional or anything like that, I don't want you to pull away from something that may hurt you, but I am here to listen if you do need to share anything. I just wanted to get that out there for anyone who needs to hear that. So again, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your video, and I will see you guys in the next one.